Hello and welcome to episode 25 of our Timberborn Update 7 Emberpelts hard mode playthrough here in cycle 31 day 2, where last time, well, we did a whole lot of the same stuff we've been doing for a long time now, but we're making incremental progress and continuing to get the map greener, more organized, and just overall better. And we've gotten a lot of stuff accomplished. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is, like completely done or whatever, but if you remember just a few short episodes ago how much bad water was absolutely everywhere, and now there's relatively not a whole lot coming in here. We do have a couple of sources that we either need to redirect or cap, but I think we're looking pretty good. Don't really have too many complaints, but you guys, as always, do have some very good ideas coming down the pipeline, as it were. So we're going to continue chopping away at some of this stuff and see what else we can get accomplished before it is time to hang this series up and call it a day. Among those things, I guess we could just go ahead and talk about while we're waiting to see if we're going to get a drought or a bad tide. The concern has been raised about the amount of bad water that we were able to produce with just this one bad water rig. I don't personally think it's going to be a problem anytime soon, maybe ever, but there are a few of you who have said that it would be a smart idea to put on this bad water discharge instead of bad water discharge, a rig, which we can easily fit in here. We might have to move this medium tank of fuel somewhere else, but it wouldn't be too difficult to get another one in here that would be pretty close to the rest of our bot stuff and would make that an even better thing for our industrial process. Along those same lines, similarly, there's some of you who have said that we shouldn't have closed this bad water source off, and instead we should have aqueducted it, if that's even a word, over here to generate more power for this area that's currently running our number crunchers and a bunch of other stuff. So we do have a drought approaching, so maybe just to humor you guys, we will put this in as a bad water rig as extra insurance. I really don't think we're ever going to need it, but yeah, might as well. So I think it might be kind of a fun thing for us to put an aqueduct in to move all of this bad water over here. We also could do a similar thing with this, because this has been basically completely untouched. And I had an idea, reading the comments and thinking about stuff we've done in the past. If you remember our very first Update 6 live stream playthrough we did last summer, I believe it was June and July, maybe a little bit of August of 2024. We did a whole bunch of aqueducts and forcing stuff way up high, suspending it over these canyons and stuff. We were in, I actually don't remember, was it Beaver Rome? Was that the map we did that on? I think that sounds about right. But we could, fairly easily come in with our platforms and overhangs and so on and so forth, and then ship this bad water through a similar kind of thing over to here, and have a lot, and I mean a lot, of stuff flowing through here, turning these water wheels and generating quote-unquote free power. Now right now this is producing 2900, which for what we are currently doing is fine in conjunction with these, or actually just these two engines, but with the additional flow from this guy and then this guy as well, we could produce quite a bit more. This right here is also one that has been capped, so if we're really trying, well, it's not going for broke because there's not really any downside to it, but if we really wanted to just be completely ridiculous, which I think sometimes is fun, depending on what it is, this could be a really good opportunity to actually put the bad water to work and have a little bit of fun along the way with the big mega build stuff that we don't normally do. So I'm going to tentatively say that that is going to be a goal, not necessarily in the near term, but in some way, shape, or form. Could be a fun thing to do. And I think before we get started with that, we really should think long and hard about the routing that we want to do for this, because remember, this is still clean water here. If I can get that to, there we go. This is still how a lot of this clean water gets into the reservoir, and I don't want to take any chance of polluting that. So in my mind's eye, I would think about putting, maybe instead of this going straight out this way, we could have this come over here to pick this up and then go to here, and then from here either have it go this way and then this way, or since this is about where this reservoir currently ends, if we wanted to excavate this a little bit further, we could actually kind of close this off and then just come straight across, more or less, from right here, which, yeah, that's as far as that has to go. Come straight across from right here, and then join up with this channel here. Again, do a little bit of terraforming, and then have all this just go right the way through here with the sound effects included. And of course, having to do the dreaded math for the waterfall limits and all that so we don't completely flood this entire area. But I think that would be really fun. So I'm going to start the process of building that out today. Obviously, it's not going to get finished in this episode because these things take an incredibly long time to get done. But there's still a lot of legwork we can do, and moving materials into position, so on and so forth. So kind of tying into some of the other comments that we got for this episode, I think what would be a smart thing to do is to take our tube network and start expanding that into the general areas that we're going to start building from. Because remember, these are way faster. It's a 400% speed boost, if I am not mistaken. I'm sorry, it's 400% of the original speed. It's a 300% boost. But it's still really quick. It's way faster than the zip lines, and it's so much faster than walking. So if we just, incrementally build out in a couple different spots, even if it's not directly into the same area we're going to be working with, that's going to get us pretty stinking close. And I think that could be a fun opportunity to do a little bit of stuff we don't normally do. In that same vein, we do have this regular water source here that we could also do something similar with and have it join up into this area. So it might actually be kind of fun, depending on how we're able to make this work, to just have kind of like a multi-lane water highway, where the bad water flows this way and the good water flows the opposite way on the same general trunk line, and then this could easily get dumped into the main reservoir area here. I think I'm just going to have to do a little bit of planning before we really commit to building something. But like I said, we can get materials in place, and we can start making this possible without it being a huge, ridiculous, stupid thing that goes horribly wrong, even though, sometimes that is kind of fun. All that being said, 8 minutes later, we are about to enter this drought, so I think the very first project that we're going to do today is to get this replaced. Obviously, I'm not going to remove this until the drought's already started, because I don't want to poison all of the trees over here. But we do have opportunities to incrementally improve other things as well. And as a lot of you have pointed out, we don't have any more pine resin because our grove of pine trees is not currently big enough for that to be constantly refillable. So wood situation isn't necessarily fantastic right now, but what I do know is that the pine resin situation is only going to get worse, and it's only going to cause problems if we don't do something about it. So I'm going to go ahead and start the process of improving that, and part of that is going to require expanding this a tiny bit out. That is a 2-block height difference. So if we just come right out to more or less the edge of this outer bounds right here and just expand out so that we have that same bit of available space. I think this should still be in the general area that is irrigated. We're going to find out. It's not really that big of a deal. But any time that we can increase the amount of pine trees that we're putting in, I think is a good choice. These have been unplanted. We honestly, I probably didn't want to get rid of them too. But 24-day drought, ready to go. It is a drought, so there will be nothing that comes out of here. But before I delete it, let's just open it up. Up. I was lied to. I was betrayed. I was lied to by my own brain. I thought, if I open this, then I'll know for sure that... Oh my god, you guys are never going to believe. Never going to believe this. Oh my god. See, what had happened was... Oh my god, man. I, for some reason, thought that this was going to be an intelligent thing for me to do. By saying, if I open it and there's nothing coming out, I'll know for sure it's turned off. But the whole thing about this is that it forces the bad water out when it's... Oh my god. So, remember how I said I didn't want to kill the trees? Yeah, well, we killed the trees. Good job, me. Absolutely fantastic. I'm never going to live that down ever. But might as well just go ahead and keep on building anyway. Nothing else matters. Just wanton death and destruction by all of the trees here. Anyway. More fuel for those who say things are fake. We all know the truth. It's that I'm actually this stupid. So, we have to relearn with the ladder. Man, I'm so pissed off. At any rate, we'll just, you know, just move on, put this thing in, get everything ready to go, and wait for this poison to evaporate. At least no beavers got sick out of this. My god, man. Alright, well, this is ready to go. Nobody walk on this. Although that would be the perfect ending to this whole debacle here. Alright, so we got a decent amount of extra irrigation here. Now I kind of can't get rid of these trees because they're definitely going to be rare wood. Now all these pine trees are dead too. Good job, genius. See, this is why I can never actually be trusted to make things in real life. This is why I couldn't be an engineer. You get people killed instantly. Well, we'll just go ahead and unplant all of these things and then replant them as pines later when all the complete poison goes away. What a pain. What a pain. Well, they can get that going. We'll try our best. It's about all we can do. Wow, they already have all the materials for this? Okay. Oh, this one isn't even on... it's not even on fracking mode. Forced bad water extraction with the help of some... what do you call it? Extract. There you go. So, yeah, we're just going to leave this on regular bad water because I'm not currently making enough extract. Man, I'm mad. I'm actually mad now. That's not going to make for a good video. Well, so we're going to have to move on from that. But what is this guy doing? Oh, he's not even local to his. There we go. Yeah, replant all those trees. Avenge the fallen trees. So we're very, very clearly going to have to plant some more trees somewhere else. How are these? How are these looking? 24, 78. 53, 4%. Okay, so these are kind of evenly spread out. And we do have all of these trees that we're able to do stuff with. And if we absolutely have to, we can cut down some maples because we have 2,800 maples. Man, I'm going to be mad about this for like a week. We absolutely must move on. This lumberjack flag can go away. While we're on the subject of fixing problems, we haven't put a lot of control towers in around the rest of the map. I've got some here and I've got some over here. But now that we have the bots actually going all over the place, it's really going to be in our best interest to get more control towers put in. So since you can build, for Emberpelts at least, you can build directly on top of these tubeways, I'm just going to put some of them at regular distances along the tubeways so that all of them are covered. And this will overlap pretty nicely with most of the other stuff that we've got going on here. This, I guess, is going to be fine. Probably the easiest way for... oh, look at that. It's almost lines up. But you know what? It's going to be fine. We'll just keep that stuff where it needs to go. That would go there just fine. That covers a lot of this that we don't really need to worry about. And then I'm going to put this on top of here. Even though it's not quite the perfect range, it's going to look pretty okay. And then I guess that's going to be the easiest way to do that too. We need to be careful about how many we put in because each one of these does consume 3 science every hour. And we have 4 of these number crunchers that each produce 10 science per hour. So every hour we are making 40 science, and every hour we are consuming 3 times the number of control towers that we have. And we've just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. So every hour we are consuming 80 science. No, that's not how that math works. I was looking at that. My god. What a horrible episode this has been. Every hour we're consuming 32 science from those new ones, plus the 4 that were already up here. So that's another It's another math. It's another 12. So we're doing okay. We're not doing great. We're going to be losing science. So that is part of the reason why we do need to start making more. But we have 55,000 right now. So over time, you'll see this number slowly decline. As we see here, it'll go kind of cyclical. But we'll get that taken care of. Man. All right. So I've got extra bots. Go ahead and put a bunch of those in there because why not? There's no reason not to. But as you can see, we are consuming not nearly as much as we're making. So the bad water stores are very, very full, which is fine because eventually we are going to need to be producing plenty of lubricant, although honestly for right now we seem to still be doing okay. We got 3,900 of it. Never hurts to have extra, and this does give bots something to do. Just gotta wait for these guys to get stuff planted. Get all these trees, make sure they're not marked for cutting. Well, once they get replanted, that is. Do I want to put another forester in? It probably doesn't matter. They're going to get this taken care of just fine anyway. Let's prioritize rebuilding the pines, which there we go. There we go. Yeah, get those put back in. Get the rest of them put in the first place, and we'll be okay. So taking all this away to be pines is going to more than double the amount of trees that we're growing up here. And then this area down here is also subject to this tapper shack, and I think we can just go ahead and cut down a number of apple trees that we're not using for apple production because we have so many stinking apples. They can come and take these out of here, and we'll replace these with pines as well. This also means that we can put in additional oak trees here, which will help solve some of our issues with not having enough trees and all these that I stupidly killed there. Alright, so that was one of the things I wanted to address. I wish I had not done it the way I did, but we're going to move on. I've said we're going to move on like 5 times, and that's clearly not been the case. But I also wanted to talk about our, I guess, pyramid of whatever here. A lot of people seem to like the idea of putting this thing on this blockage pile here and having water go under it. So we are going to do that. I just don't know when that's going to be viable. But before we do that, we do have the ability to put these other monuments in place, because we haven't really done anything yet with these. So just because this is what we currently have access to, I'm going to put a Flame of Unity in here, right next to these guys. I don't think they can actually reach this. So that's going to be something I guess we have to fix. How can I even get these guys up here? I guess I just have to put in ladders for better or for worse. I do still want to build a cliffside apartment complex. I do not know how to approach that. And I know there's people who are going to be mad if I don't build it today, but I don't think I've got a good enough plan to figure that out yet. All right, so I did say we're going to get stuff over here. The easiest way, I think, for us to get over into that area is just going to be extending our tubeways. People also want to see those buried, but again, I think I'm going to cause more problems than I'm going to solve by just kind of, diving into that with absolutely no plan, and this episode does not need any more of that at this point. So that is going to be what it's going to be when we get there. All right, so 6x2 bridge will be fine to get across that way. They will have to come build this side first, but again, the goal is to get the bots and the beavers across to other areas of the map as we were able to make that happen. And I think because it's only bots doing literally every job, we don't have to be careful about sending them down into bad water. So I think what's going to make the most sense travel time wise is to go from here just straight down, straight across, and then up this way. And then if we really wanted to, we could probably extend this one out this way, because remember, all of these dirt excavators are about to be gone. We don't need these anymore. We have 4,400 dirt, and we might end up needing some later. But I can tell you for absolute certain, we do not need these. I can leave maybe one. Look at that, our well-being went up as soon as I got rid of those. I know that has absolutely nothing to do with it, but that's just the way it goes, I suppose. They should be Oh, they can't reach this because they have to build these guys first on the bridge. I keep forgetting this is like a composite item. Bobbing About did make a really good post as a comment a couple episodes ago, I think, about how this tubeway bridge works. Pretty interesting. But I always forget that's what the case was. Anyway, I want to maintain mobility underneath this stuff, so I am going to continue building the bridges across here about as best as I can. Make sure that we can still get underneath. But yeah, it's about to be the time where we just kind of send these guys screaming into the void, raging against the dying of the light, etc. That's probably actually not how that poem goes, and I don't remember exactly, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to just send them off. I kind of want to go, so you can just go straight down to the bottom here, but you know how it works. You know how this works. How deep is this? 2. I'm mainly trying to stay above this, so yeah, if I have this go down right here in the exact perfect spot, this should be... Wow, I still managed to mess that up. Alright, fantastic job. I can't even tell. Is that straight down? There it is. Alright. So what's going to happen here is, because of the way this is set up, I'm not sure. I don't think the tubeway bridge allows you... No, this one is not modifiable. And you also... Wait, what? It didn't used to do that. Or maybe it did and I'm just dumb. Okay, well, never mind. Consider me thoroughly corrected. That's exciting, because that makes this a whole heck of a lot easier. So now that's connected right off the side of the cliff. And then we just have to put in additional tubeway bridges until we get across this nasty bit here all the way there. And then I think... Yeah, I'll just keep this at ground level, because we're probably never going to have to come outside of the tubeway bridges. So, cheapest way to do that's going to be doing that. And then these guys are so much cheaper to build than the bridges. Do I want to go straight out, or do I want to... Yeah, it's probably makes more sense to just go straight out. And just bring this here. Oh, this is going to be so much easier. So much easier than having to worry about other stuff. This guy goes down too. You know the drill. We're just going all the way across. All the way across, as long as I don't make any perspective mistakes, because I have the peripheral vision of a blind squirrel that is also dead. I don't know what difference that would make in terms of vision quality, but apparently that's how that works. Let's see. Can I go one more 6 over? It looks like I can. So that's going to go there. I really hope I have that aligned correctly. There we go. So now... See, this is really throwing me off, having the tubes actually want to connect like this, because it didn't want to... well, now I can't do that? What? I just did this. Okay, it's only the end piece. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense, because I remember seeing that these individual segments were separated code-wise from these guys. They were like different whatever. You know what I mean, even if I'm wrong. Now, the one issue we might run into here is these trees in the way. So if I want to come across this way, then that's going to be what I've got to build with. Which means this is going to go here, which means this is going to go here. That's the same height, is it? What the heck? We have so many stinking resources. I might as well just say, you know what? Just send it. Just build it. Use all of our resources, because we don't have anything else to do with them. Alright, so that is not quite what we want. I need to go 5, and then I need this one to go around the corner here, which we're about to find out if that's going to play nice. Oh, good, it does. That makes it so much easier. So much easier. Please tell me that's the correct height. I think it is. Yeah, well, that's what we're working on. That's what we're going with. So that will go there. That'll go there. That'll go there. Everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. So on and so forth, etc. That lined up quite nicely not to have to get anything removed there. Alright, so our distance here is going to be 6 plus 4. We could just do 2 5s for no reason other than just nice, even spacing for something that we're probably never going to look at again. How are they doing here? Are they still working on building this? Looks like it, yep. But it should go quite a bit faster when we get to this bit. And then, of course, we'll do the same here. I probably should just replace this with a tubeway bridge for the sake of easy. And then right here can be gone with a 5x. There we go. Alright, so that gets us to this guy. And then, without much further ado from there, it'll bring us over here. And then at some point, we'll probably have to loop in, connect straight across with this. So, see, this is just such a perfect setup here. I do think that's going to be interesting for us to mess with. But again, for what we are working with now, we don't need to worry about capping these. One, because we have 17 days. Two, because the bots don't care if they get a little bit wet, or a lot of bit wet with any of that nasty stuff. So we can just keep on here. No, not on that side. Not on that side. We want to come down this side. Then 6x will get me to there. And then this will have to start going up here. So we do need to be careful about that. I guess we'll just go straight to here. Keep this nice and organized. Get me one more up this way. And then I think this is going to have to cross that, so I might as well just go ahead and go up this way. Just for the sake of easements here. It's not the correct usage of that word, but that's okay. Oh, what? Oh, okay, it's already... That's the wrong height. That's the wrong number. Nobody's going to understand that reference, and that's fine. If you do, then I want you to know that I care about you. Well, that's true either way. But let's go ahead and get that. I need 2 more here. There we go. Come on, place correctly. Thank you. Okay, so that's got to go be a 4x there. Then there. And then at some point I just have to go straight up. Probably what's going to make the most sense, since we are going to want this to connect here, is for me to go on the outside of this. So we'll make that line up with... I guess... Oh, come on. I guess we'll make that line up with this bit here, so... That can easily be replaced with a tubeway connection. We don't need to have access to that. Get my 6x here, which doesn't really matter what this other side is. Be a 5x. Of course, they're going to start building that bit from there. That's going to go to there. It's going to be really funny when I've somehow managed to just put this in the absolute wrong, like, worst possible spot. So this is the... Did I do the 5x when I should have done the 6? Yeah, that's actually exactly what happened. Let's fix that. That needed to be the 6. Why did I put the 5 there? Okay, so then this... Look at this! Oh, man, that's fantastic, except this is just very slightly wrong. So... Because I know I could not sleep at night if I didn't do this exactly perfectly, I'm going to put some double dynamite there, and then that's going to have to get blasted by the time somebody gets to this side, and then that'll be just perfectly wonderful, beautiful, flawless, so on and so forth. And we can kind of speed up that process by putting in a tiny tubeway station here, so they can build in from the inside there. Very nice, very convenient. They're working on this madness. We don't have any fuel except for right here, but there is a station here so that they can get on. And hopefully that ends up being a little bit of an easier task than all this other stuff we were looking at doing. So let's come back over and check on our failed experiment of a mess over here. That's working. I've got more space to plant some pine trees. Very good. Very slow rehabilitation of this whole area without wasting any wood, because we knew that was such a huge problem to begin with. I guess we'll just set this back to no priority. Should not be an issue. And then, of course, we do have to remove the pine trees from the automatic cutting list. Piece by piece. Alright, so you already know what time it is. I'm going to, just out of the genuine interest I have for the construction process of the tubeways, we're going to time-lapse the construction of this thing right here. And we're going to see what happens how long it takes them to do that while we shape out our bot distribution, transportation, whatever you want to call it, network in preparation for building these big giant aqueducts. And I will see you on the other side of this time lapse. Okay, so after a very long time of time lapsing, we finally have this entire thing all the way set up to connect up here. Now, I did have to remove this tubeway so we could get access to build the rest of this, but that will be going back in just as soon as I manage to make it possible for these guys to get where they need to be going. Obviously, they're going to get their fill from the tank here, and then they're going to go back on their merry way somewhere else. Hopefully, so we don't have anybody get stuck. But I think I can go ahead and just pop that path. Nope, 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 nope. Here I go again. That's supposed to go in there. The tubeway, not the path. The tubeway goes in. But now we have, over here, if you paid attention during the time lapse, I have no idea how quickly that's going to go by, but I did build ourselves a little bit of a base of operations here. And I tried to do it from the exact same vantage point because people complain when the camera moves, but unfortunately I did place this hauling post slightly off base. But we got a lot of builders, we got some haulers, we've got storage for metal blocks, planks, and logs, and we have fuel and lubricant as well. So the bots can come down here and start actually building the giant structure that's going to be necessary for us to build this aqueduct, and all of the base materials are here. The overhangs, of course, require those three that I was talking about earlier, and then the platforms as well. And then the tubeways use planks and the metal blocks. Not that we're going to be building too many more tubeways, I don't think, over here, because it's mostly going to be focused on putting in these impermeable floors on top of the overhangs and all that stuff when we build them. But now that that's done, we have another drought coming in. Let's take a look at what we have going on over here, because I haven't been over here to put these pine trees back in. So let's do that. Unmark these for cutting, now that they've been put back in place as pine trees. And we should have quite a bit more pine resin made available as time goes by. Yeah, you can see it's continually being pulled out of there. All sorts of demand remaining for that stuff. But, yeah, I think, honestly, the lubricant supply is probably okay. But it never hurts to have extra if you can make it work. And then, oh, hey, guess who forgot to do literally anything over here? It was me. That's not happened at all today. So yeah, we're going to get them to go ahead and take these apple trees out. That was my bad for forgetting that I'd put this in here. But they'll make quick work of it now that we have a whole lot of builder bots. And we'll just put the rest of this in here. Make sure these are, thank you autosave for completely making it impossible. Make sure these are unmarked for cutting. And that's going to make it easier for our guys to come in and take this. And yes, they can still reach all of these pine trees. I know someone's probably going to ask that. So where does that leave us with the bio beavers? Well, we haven't really done anything with these guys in a long time. But we did put the Flame of Unity in, and that has gotten our well-being up to 50. Which is pretty stinking good. I mean, you take a look at these stats. All we're missing are some aesthetic stuff, and then the other monuments, and then a couple things for fun. So I do have to, unfortunately, go back, since this is a new computer, I hadn't even thought about this. I do have to go back and put the files in for the detailer to stamp my face on the beavers, because apparently people think that's funny. But we can start adding some of the stuff in future episodes as we work toward, of course, the ultimate goal of all the beavers being as happy as they can with as many recreational opportunities as we can put in. But I think a lot of this aesthetic stuff is going to be something that we can add in and fix while we're building our cliffside apartments and then our giant pyramid of stuff, which of course will not be in this episode. But food-wise, since a couple of people asked, the goal that some people seem to have with this is that we should have everything on our food list have the K after it, have more than 1,000 items. And we actually don't have enough storage for radishes for that to be possible. Same thing with tomatoes. So it's been a while. Let's take a look at how our stuff is stored here, because I actually don't remember. It looks like, yeah, see, I've got radishes here. I've got, well, I pointed at something that was not radishes. We've got beets, we've got radishes, we've got apple storage, we've got tomato storage. This is just kind of a remnant of the before times when we didn't have a whole a whole lot of stuff available in convenient locations. So you take a look at both of these things. We've got, of course, the beets here. We don't need to have those there. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. Radishes is what we have right here with the storage for 400. If we go ahead and get rid of this, and then we replace this with large warehouses, just 2 of those right there. What is this? Apple juice? Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do is apples, we already have tons of storage for. We don't need any more of that. But we could use... Why can I never remember where stuff is put? Radishes. That's what I was going to put in storage. And then tomatoes, which should be right here. Kind of hard to see when these things are real small. But that is going to mean that we can get rid of that. And then I suppose we probably should be planting some more berry bushes, but honestly we're not really using or needing berries for anything at this point. So that would just be kind of one of those completionist things. But this is going to allow us to put in plenty of more tomatoes and whatever the heck these things are called, I already forgot, into our storage and get the K's everywhere, which I know a lot of you are excited to see. So just, you know, small improvements here and there as we continue working. Obviously, our reservoir is still totally fine. We have another drought coming in a day and a half, and we haven't managed to use any dirt yet, and I'm not actually sure that we're going to need to. So we'll see what happens. I got a couple ideas for finishing this out, and I had thought that maybe it would be kind of fun, and please do let me know your opinions of this in the comments, if we just had terrain blocks go all the way around these things, make a 5x5 column, and yes, I'm going to put the corner piece in because we have to be able to walk across everything. But we could either do these as terrain or we could do them as levees. I think given our relative, for a project of this scale, relative lack of logs, it's probably going to be smarter to do terrain. So I think that's what I'm going to want to go with. But like I said, 5x5 here, 5x5 here, just build that up to whatever predetermined height we've decided we want to work with. And then however it lines up to get the most easy throughput of bad water going this way and good water going that way. We'll have to take a look at the strength of these. Let's go into dev mode real quick. That's 1, 1, 1, and 1. So, oh, thank you, Z key. So total strength of 4 coming from here. I know I should have checked on this. That is 3. And then that is actually... I can't click on this because the discharge is in the way. So if I take this out... Oh, come on. Autosave always does this to me. I can't actually click on the source here, which is unfortunate. Why did it do that? Okay, well, we're out of dev mode anyway. I can only assume this is also 3. I guess when we go to remove the discharge, then we'll be able to look at that. But for a strength of 4, we will only need a 2-block wide water highway, I guess we could call it. For a strength of 3, considering that this will also be 3, so we'll be at 3, we'll be at 6, and then when this one gets picked up, we'll be at 9. In terms of water falling, we'll have to have, for that, 5. 4 is not quite enough. We'll have to have 5 edges. Not necessarily 5 wide, but 5 edges for that to come down. And I think, if I'm remembering my math correctly, which is a very dangerous statement, we can still do that with a 3 wide channel, as long as it has the little jog here. So just to illustrate what that would look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I can count. And we'll go ahead and build around that. But I think what's going to make the most sense in terms of aesthetics is to have that 3 wide and then a 3 wide on the other side, even if we only need it to be 2 wide. It's just going to look a whole lot nicer, and then we can just have, like I was saying, this come up here, this come up here. What's actually the distance between these? Somebody gave me a really good hint that if you hold down X, it will do the same thing as clicking on this, but you don't have to toggle it. So if you press X, right here on the edge, this 5x5, that gives us a very, very, very nice distance between these two of 3 in the middle. So I think that's going to work out perfectly fine. We can just have this come straight up, or we can just use this height because it seems to be about the same. There we go, 19-day drought inbound. But that would be perfect for us to just go ahead and start filling this in. We do have this connected to tubeways, although it's not completely connected through here. I did say we were going to do that, but we will get to that in due time. Let's start the process by just going ahead and filling in all of this mess just because we can. Make this nice and full. Remember, we don't have to have this little spillway anymore. Very, very convenient setup here. Just get this as filled in as possible. And then that will enable us to get to about the height we want. Like I said, the height that we're currently looking at here, I don't have the height shower mod because I'm pretty sure it doesn't work on Update 7 yet. But wow, look how quick these guys are taking this to task. I love to see that. But this height is the same as this height over here, and one block below is about the height of the liquid itself. So if we just kind of kept it at about this height, we could have, we could have this just come straight off here. We could actually blast a channel into this, depending on how we wanted to do this. Unless we wanted to raise it up slightly so that it could come in through here. It may make more sense depending on how we want to lay this out. I'm still not entirely sure for the bad water to go this way, and then down this way. But I kind of thought it would be fun for it to go this way, then this way, and then when it gets to here, just go straight the way across and dump in there. That would be a much more interesting looking structure, even if it is kind of nonsensical in terms of engineering safety or gravity-defying nonsense. But honestly, I feel like that's kind of part of the game with Timberborn. You know, you have these big spindly platforms and overhangs, and there's no beaver OSHA to speak of, so I think they could get away with building that. So, I mean, we're not going to start construction on this whole thing today. That is going to be next episode, but please let me know your thoughts, because I am very interested to see what you have to say about that, as I always am, because remember, it is a let's play, not a watch me play. Always, always, always going to want your input, even if I'm not necessarily going to always use everybody's suggestions. I do very much value the creative process as a collaborative effort, and I would love to have you be part of it. So, let's just make a couple of small adjustments here before we move on for the day. And I think what's going to make the most sense is for us to just go ahead and get on the ground floor. You know what? It's not going to let me do, because these are all bridge pieces. I'm going to have to do one of these numbers here, and then we'll let these guys get in started this way. So yeah, that whole thing about, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make this out of dirt. Yeah, okay, we're making it out of dirt. We're making it out of dirt. It's going to be the easiest possible way for us to get this done. But if we decide to go high enough here, it's going to be so easy. So easy. Just get this right the way here. Check our height. Oh, I made a mistake here. Yeah, just trying. It's hard. I know it's going to sound like stupid for me to complain about this, but it's hard for me to, do this and talk about it at the same time. It is actually difficult, and I make a lot of mistakes because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be saying here. But like I said, we have that nice spacing here that I would really love to take advantage of, and because of how this is set up, we are going to have to be a little bit careful as far as setting the distances between here. Remember that this is counted, this block here, this line of blocks is counted as part of the 3 wide distance. So when we come over here, we're also going to have to take that into account. And I'm not entirely sure what the best way is to do this with the dirt blocks instead of the wood. So I might have to think about that. If you have any ideas, please do let me know as well. But to help these guys out, since we have access to this here, I'm just going to go ahead and run this tubeway right up the side. I know we're going to be building through this at some point, so we will have to remove some of this tubeway, but this is going to be the fastest, easiest way. Again, because of how these bridges are laid out, I can only connect to a couple of these pieces. This is going to be the easiest way for us to get this done right now, and they'll be able to put in plenty of dirt here, and that will be something that we'll catch up with in the next episode as we continue working on all this. So, in addition to having all of this storage here, I probably should have done this from the get-go, but we are going to have storage for dirt as well. So if we just go ahead and put in right here at the end, just because that's a space that was available. That is clay, that's not dirt. Put a storage for dirt there. And then I imagine we're going to need to still do a little bit of construction with the dirt up here. It's not really easily accessible. I know I keep saying we're going to run out of time and I'm not going to be able to get all of this taken care of appropriately here, but I'm going to go ahead and say that we need to just bring this across this way. Forget about all the nonsense we have to clean up here. Just move on with our lives, do the best that we can with what we got, like we always do. But two-way bridges. Again, all of this is going to be removed at some point, maybe, so it looks a little bit nicer, but for our purposes of what we're working with, this is the best I got. So let these guys get built across here. Make sure that is good like that. This ladder here is going to have to go away. And then we don't have to go straight across this chasm here, but it is going to be kind of a chore to get this put in a way that is going to make sense to everybody. So I'm just going to kind of have to, I guess, pull rank here, as it were, and just get something done for the sake of progress, even if it's not going to be, you know, the most beautiful, amazing, perfect thing you've ever seen. Have I said that before in today's episode? I feel like I have. What a concept. But you know the drill. We'll just get as much of this put in as we can, and we'll let them do what they've got to do for the benefit of everybody else. Just get a couple more of these in, and then, yeah, that's my voice telling me it's about time to be done. But looks like... see, I wanted to avoid having one of these go all the way down. But yeah, you know what? I said I was going to get rid of this stuff at the end anyway, so not really any harm in doing this way. Just get that 6x all the way down there. And then I suppose probably the easiest way, even if it's not the most logical way, the easiest thing for us to do is going to be to just build across here with what we have easy access to. Just for the benefit of these tubes, just pop that in there. This is going to end up going here. I have the wrong one again. Good job. And pop that tubeway there. And like I said, it's going to replace the path at some point. But I figured probably the easiest thing to do is just keep the path in place and have this kind of roughly follow the path wherever possible without as many turns, so it's a little bit easier to build. And that's going to let us get into there. Again, it's not the most beautiful thing anyone has ever made, but it is going to be a worthwhile thing nonetheless. Let's go ahead and, for the benefit of the beavers, because I just now remembered, or the bots rather, put that station right there because they'll be able to build directly from the top of it. Super easy. Thank you, increasing quantities of lag, for making this a difficult process. Maybe that's a sign that I'm going a little bit too hog wild with the tubeways, but I just think these are a lot of fun, man. Really, really good stuff. So you can see the FPS in the corner just absolutely tanking, well, while I'm clicking on stuff. But it's still somehow at 1440, max settings, whatever, hovering around 50 to 60 FPS most times, I say, as it dips down into the 30s and then the spikes down to 13. But regardless, I'm really impressed with the performance of the game on the new computer with the help of the much faster processor and better cache size and all that. But yeah, this is where we're going to leave it for today, folks. I really appreciate your support of this series and the tolerance of the mistakes like the ones I've been making earlier in this episode. But we got a lot of good stuff done, and we are really, really set up nicely now for a much better next couple of episodes in terms of getting some fun stuff built. So I really appreciate you again. Beard Boosters, you already know. But everybody else has to know. You guys are what makes this possible for me to dedicate as much time as I'm doing, which, you know, the time lapses do take a whole lot more time to record. And I, for the time being at least, do still have a pretty limited amount of time I can safely and appropriately invest in doing YouTube stuff. So your contributions really do make a huge difference. And like I've been saying, you paid for this new computer, which has made it possible for us to do even more fun stuff with this game and others to come very soon. But again, I just really appreciate you, whether you're on that list or not. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we get to spend some time together. So whatever it is you do with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll catch you in the next episode of this series on Monday. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.